Hello, guys. Welcome to Resolution Minds, your one stop destination for all the coding and technology. I am Imraz and I'm thrilled to have you join us in the exciting journey of exploration, learning, and innovation in the world of programming and tech. In this series, we'll be exploring the most commonly asked and important topic in Java. What type of questions in an interview they will be asking, and how you can tackle such kind of question irrespective of if it is a theoretical or practical coding questions. So without wasting any further time, let's dive into our session and start exploring. So today we are going to discuss about a data structure called array. What is an array? Before trying to understand an array, if you search into Google, why basically an array is used, the answer we are going to find is that basically array is nothing but a data structure which is going to help us to store the data. Now, before the array concept came into picture, were we not able to store the data? Is there any other way we were trying to store the data? Yes, absolutely. Prior to array, there is a concept called traditional. Okay, in traditional way, we were used to store the different type of data. What is this traditional way? How do we store the data using the traditional way? If you ask me, for an example, if I declare an integer data type for a variable called a, and if I assign the value called 10, okay, this is one of the traditional way how we store the data in a variable called a. Apart from that, there are different ways data types. For example, if I take a string, name is equals to searching. So this is also one of the one of the traditional way how we are going to assign the value to this particular variable called name, and which is of type string. So this technique of storing the data, we call it as a traditional. Okay, when we have such kind of traditional concept, what was the need to bring the array into picture? Or why this array was invented, means it was discovered, why this concept was brought into picture? If you ask me, see guys, when we use such kind of traditional way, it is absolutely good and efficient if you want to store the small amount of data. For an example, let's try to assume that I want to store the data of multiple students. Okay, let's assume that I want to store the data of 5 students in some random class. Okay, until in marks 1 is equals to, let me tell, 98. Okay, similarly, I'll tell int m2 is equals to 95. Okay, int m3 marks of the third student, let me tell, something called 91, and similarly I'll tell int m4 is equals to 89, and I'll tell int m5 is equals to 99. So these are some random numbers that are available. Let's assume that m1 belongs to the student 1, m2 belongs to student 2, m3 belongs to student 3, respectively up to m5. Okay, if you try to store the data in this particular format, okay, then what happens here is, let's assume that this is my RAM memory. Let's consider this as my RAM memory, that is random access memory. In this, the data will be stored in the random format. Okay, where I can just one example I'm just taking with the help of a RAM. Okay, so let me consider this is one row, and one more row in this format, and like this. Okay, similarly, I'm just trying to create multiple spaces in the RAM, okay, to give more idea and clarity on this. Okay, let's consider this as a RAM. Okay, and if in case I'm considering the traditional way of storing the data, where if I tell int m1 is equals to 98, where m1 data might be storing in this particular place, and m2 data might be storing here, and m3 data basically here, and m4 data might be here, and m5 data might be here. Means what is that I want to prove you here is, if you try to store the data in this particular format, the data will be stored in the random places. There will be no continuity in the place where the data is being stored. And apart from that, when we use the traditional way of storing, retrieving the data is also plays a very vital role, and it is a challenging in the traditional way. Why it is a challenging? See, suddenly if I ask you what is the marks of the student 3, okay, then what you have to do, you have to remember the name of the student 3, that is which is stored as M3, and that particular location you can go and access. Suddenly if I ask the student marks of the student M5, then you have to remember the name of the student, that is fifth student, that is you have stored as M5, and you have to go to this particular place. Means what is that I'm trying to say here? If the small amount of data, you can easily remember M1 to M3. If I have something, let's tell 1,000 students is there. Suddenly if I have asked you something 568 student marks, if I ask, then you have to remember the name you have given for the 568th student, then only you will be able to access. So these are the challenges that we're facing when we need to store and access the data in the traditional format. It is absolutely good and efficient when the data is small. When the data size is going to be increased, it will create so many problems which we have seen. So this made the requirement for the development of a new data structure which will help us to store the data and retrieve the data. For an example, the concept is something called an array. What is an array? Let's try to understand a definition. In an interview, if they ask, what is an array? Then we can definitely give the definition as array is nothing but a collection of homogeneous elements. A collection of homogeneous elements stored in a continuous memory location having a single name, which can be accessed. Otherwise we can tell it as where array elements can be accessed by index values, where index value start from 0. Yeah. This is the good definition and sufficient definition, which is going to give you weightage on your answer, where interview will be, yes, thinking, yeah, definitely some answer he has given, and he is trying to explaining multiple parts which are present in an array. If you see here, as the name suggests here, okay, as the name suggests here, that is, what is an array? Means if you see here, the collection of homogeneous elements stored in a continuously memory location. Okay, stored in a continuously memory. Let's try to break down the definition and understand one by one. A collection of homogeneous elements. What is homogeneous elements? See, there are two types of elements that are available. One is homogeneous, one is heterogeneous. When it comes to homogeneous, means same type, similar type. Heterogeneous means a different combination, a different type combined together. We call it as a heterogeneous. I believe you guys are understanding. So what is that? When come here, array is clearly defining that whatever the data you're going to store in an array, it will be homogeneous, means it will be of same type itself. And that too, they will be storing continuously memory location. For an example, if you create an array of type integer, then in the entire array, you'll be storing only integer type. Why? Because it is nothing but the homogeneous elements. It stores the homogeneous elements. If you create an array of type Boolean, then it will store only the Boolean type of data. Why? Again, it is because of the homogeneous. If you create an array of type string, it will store only string type of data. I believe everyone getting. So let me show you the declaration or syntax of an array. Okay, what is a syntax of an array? Let me just show you here. I'll tell you as date type. I'll tell array name is equals to new data type, followed by the square braces and the size. Okay, so this is how your array looks like. The syntax of an array looks like. For an example, if you want me to convert that syntax into an example, it is very simple, guys. That is, I'll tell here as in, let me tell ARR as a name is equals to new int of size 5. Okay, where data type is nothing but my integer data type. Okay, array name is nothing but my ARR, where new is the inbuilt keyword, reserved keyword, so I'll keep it as it is. Where data type is nothing but the int itself, where the size is I'm going to define it as 5, which tells that in this array I'm going to store only the integer data, and in which I'll be able to store 5 elements. 5 of integer data type will be able to store. Means, as per the definition, the collection of homogeneous elements, that is only the integer elements will be storing. And what will happen if the data in an array stores in continuous memory location? For an example, how it is going to look here? If you look at here, if I create an array in this particular format, here what will happen in the memory part, the array of size will be created, size 5 will be created. Where let me tell this as 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5. Okay, just randomly some data. I'll tell it as something called 10. Okay, I'll tell it as 20. Okay, I'll tell it as something called 30. I'll tell this one as 40, and I'll tell this one as 50. Where array name, I'll tell it as something called ARR, which we have given. The index value, I'll give it as 0. Okay, I'll tell you what is this index value, why it is used. 2, 3, and 4. Okay. See, guys, for this particular array, what will happen here is the array will be created in this particular format, where I have by myself, I have inserted as 10, 20, 30. But initially, when you create an array, it will create a default values. Okay, for your understanding sake, let me just try to see it possible now. Yeah, let me give the exact way. See, whenever you create an array initially, what will happen, array will be created, the default values for the array will be given like this: 0, 0, 0, and 0, and let this be also a 0. Why 0, 0 means, see, when you, as soon as you create an array in the memory, when the array will be created of size 5 and type integer, the default value for the integer is 0. Hence, what will happen? Immediately 0, 0, 0 will be assigned for this one. And whenever we come to this one, this data will be stored in a memory. That too, it will store in a continuous memory location. Means, when you try to store this data, okay, let me tell here as 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me add one more line here. Okay. Okay. Just have a look at this one, guys. When you try to store the data, it will store in this format: 0, 0, 0, 0, and 0. Okay, this is nothing but my array. Once again, so what I'll do, I'll create this one. I'll tell of color blue. Okay, this is my array. Okay, where you can see here all the data which is present inside the array is the same type of, yes or no, same type of data is available, that is integer, 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 integer data, and they are storing in continuously memory location. Now for this entire array, one single name is available, that is, I'll tell it as something called AR. Am I clear till here? I believe that you guys are understanding. Okay, so when this is how the definition of an array goes look like. syntax and declaration. See here, when come to the other part of the definition, having a single name means for entire elements which are present inside this array, one single name we have given as array name as ARR. A single name we have given, where array elements can be accessed by index value, where index value starts from 0. Means to access any element which is present inside this an array, you just have to make use of a index value. What is this index value? This 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the index values. Let me just give a name for this one. We'll tell this one as a array element. Element, and this we call it as a index value. We'll tell it as index value, and this we call it as a array name. Okay, I'll tell it as array name. I believe you guys are getting, yeah. Array name, index value, and array element. Now, to access the array element, they have given the definition in the definition itself that please make use of an index value. Means suddenly, if you want to access this 0 which is present here, then you have to tell a array, ARR array, give me the value which is present in the second index. If you want to access the 0 which is present in the fourth index, then you have to tell, hey array, give me the value of an array which is present in the fourth index. Means to access any element which are present in an array, you have to make use of the index. Where one thing you should make a note of that is that where index value is going to be starting from 0. That is this one. You cannot start the index value from 1. It always starts from 0. Now look at the definition. Array is nothing but collection of homogeneous elements stored in continuous memory locations. Here, array is nothing but collection of homogeneous, all are same type, that is integer type data which are stored in continuously memory location. Means suppose let's assume that the memory address of this one, the first 0 is something, let me tell it as something called 1000. Okay, memory address of this first this one is 1000, means the second element will be present in 1004. Why? Because integer data in the Java all occupies 4 bytes of memory. Means first 0 is present at 1000 memory location, the second will be present at 1004. Where similarly, the consequently third 0 will be present at 1008th memory location, where 1000 is one of the random memory address that I am imagining. Okay, it doesn't mean it will always be 1000. It is just I'm imagining from my side to make you guys a concept clear. Okay, so and apart from that, you can see that it will store in continuously memory location, having a single name. See, for entire elements which are present inside an array, there is a single name I have given as ARR, a single name. Now you want to access the second, this 0 which is present second index, for that also you have to make use of ARR. The last value also you have to make use of ARR. Means suddenly if someone asks what is the name of means marks of any particular student, you can directly access. Why? Because of the single name. You need not to remember multiple names as we had remembered in traditional format like M1, M2, M3, M4, M5 we have remembered, right? Here you need not to remember different name. A single name will be more than sufficient for us. Okay, let's dive into the next part. See guys, when come to an array, the storing of values in the array is also a very simple task. Let me define array once again. I'll tell integer, so I'll tell the ARR is equals to new int. I'll tell here as size is equals to 5. Okay, array we have declared. As soon as you declare, what will happen? Array of size 5 will be created. Now let's imagining in this format. I'll tell this one as 0, 0, 0, 0. I'll tell it as 0. Then it is larger size. Let me just delete this part. Okay, I'll create a smaller box. Okay, let it be in this format. Carefully listen, you have to focus now. Okay. So I'll tell this name as ARR. Okay. I'll tell it as 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now let's have a look at this one again. Once you declare an array like this, the data will be formatted and it will be created in a memory. Once this is ready, how do we store the data, our own data in an array, and how do we retrieve? It is very simple, guys. If you want to store some value 10 in the 0 in this particular place, you just have to tell ARR square braces, mention the index value, and assign the value which you want to give as 10. Means this will assign the value 10 for an array named as ARR in the 0th index. Means ARR of 0, inside this one, the value 0 will be overwritten. Means the 0 will be overridden to the value called 10. The 10 will be stored. Take this aside in this particular format. Now, if you want to store a different value in the, let me tell, in ARR of 2, you want to assign the value 30. Then very simple, you just need to tell ARR of 2 inside this one and assign the value is equals to 30. Means you're directly telling ARR of 2, means ARR is the array name, go to the second index, inside that assign the value 30. Means very simple, where 0 value will be overridden by the value called 30 here, 30 in this particular format. I believe you got the clarity how we can store the values. Okay, now to retrieve the values, again to print the values, array values, use the same format. Where to print anything in the Java, we have to make use of something called system.out.println, and then system dot out dot println, and until here are something called ARR of 0. Okay, semicolon. Similarly, I'll tell in this format, I'll replace the index value 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see here, guys, where this is how we can retrieve the values from an array. Now look at here, the output of this particular line. It will go to system.out.println ARR of 0, means in the array ARR, in the 0th index, what is the value present? It will go to ARR of 0. What is the value present? 10 now. So it will print 10 over there. Next, when come to this one, I'm telling ARR of 1. ARR of 1, what is the value present? 0. It will print 0. Similarly, it will go to the next line, next time. Here it is telling ARR of 2. ARR of 2 is nothing but 30. Here I have written 30. And let me tell you here, this for this one, again ARR of 3 is nothing but a 0, means a 0 will be printed here. And next, I will come back to this one and I'll tell here again as, means this is the way how you can store the data in an array. This is the way how you can retrieve the data in an array. Okay, so let me just tell here as storing the data into array, and this we call it as retrieving the data from array. Okay, so in this video we have seen that what is an array, okay, what is the need of an array, what is the definition of array, syntax of an array, how how whenever example with an example we understood what is the index value, what is the array element, what is the array name, and here we have seen how we can store the data into an array and how we can retrieve the data from an array. So if you like the video, please share with your friends and spread the love. Thank you, guys.